start that. So hello everybody, and thank you for joining me. So obviously what I wanted to do was reach out to people that I knew I had spoken to about Capsule and supported with Capsule. And a couple of people had asked me in the past, oh, I just need to know a little bit more, or I just want to have a little bit of a better understanding about what I'm doing. And I thought, in this time of lockdown, what else is there to do? But let's just jump on a Zoom call. We'll go through any issues you've got or any questions you've got. I can share my screen and my Capsule and we can go through it, or we can just make this very generic and do what they want. But because there's only the three of you, we will tailor make this specific to you as to what you want to do. So what I wanted to do first was just do some welcome and intro so that everybody knows each other, because I don't know who knows who and what we're going on. I'd then like to know where you are with Capsule, so how you're getting on with it, are you using it effectively, and then we'll go through and say, okay, what issues, what would you like to know about Capsule, what is holding you back, where do you think you need more information, what do you like about it, but what do you think you wish it could do, and we'll see if we can find a solution to what you think, what you're wanting it to do, and making it work better for you and more effectively. So I'll go first. So hi, everybody knows me. I'm Jenny, Chrysalis Business Support, and I help and support people inputting their processes together and getting their CRM system. So I've been using Capsule as a CRM system for probably about 8 years now. I probably found it not long after I set Chrysalis up, and Chrysalis is 10 years old this year. And one of the reasons I really love Capsule is that I find it very easy to use. It's very user-friendly from a business owner's perspective. I love the pipeline and the fact that we can get numbers out and we can get stats, which will help us to drive some of the marketing and the business development strategies. And it's a really cost-effective system, and it hooks in with things like Xero, MailChimp, anything we want it to do, which means that you can have a seamless operation. So that is me. So Sam, why don't you kick us off next, please?
So I'm Sam, and I'm Head of Awesomeness at Sinclair Day Accountancy. Sorry, what did she say?
I said she really is.
Oh, bless you. I'm also now video star. Who knew? Yeah. So we have Capsule, Jenny, as you know, and you came in and you did some brilliant training on it, and we thought it was wonderful. But then we just, for whatever reason, haven't found the time to use it. So we're not using it at all. In fact, I've got it logged in on my screen, and we haven't been into it properly really since July last year. So we really, really need to. And I think what's happened at the moment has made us realise the importance of it. So obviously doing those videos, we needed to get them out to all of our clients. And we had to scrape, I mean, to be fair, we just exported a list from Xero and sent it up that way. But when then all my contacts were saying to me, oh, can you include me? I was having to manually add people's addresses in because I didn't have them on Capsule. And I know if I'd had them on Capsule, that probably would have been a far easier process than adding everybody manually. So yeah, so that's my journey really with Capsule. Came to a bit of a stop. Now we need it kick-started again.
I know. Bless you. Thank you very much. Peter.
Okay, so I'm Peter Roper. I'm known as the Family Businessman and founder of the Family Business Practice. That's 150 owned, managed and family businesses across the West Midlands. Family Business Practice is 5 years old. Jenny's been all as damn it, a founder member, I think, of it. And 5 locations, 50 odd meetings a year, all of which stopped about 3 weeks ago. We're, in 10 days, we've turned it around so it's now a completely online process and system, which has been a lot of work. It's still a lot of work to do. A couple of months ago, I got a hold of Jenny and said, Jen, for God's sake, I've got to sort this out once and for all. Yeah. And she said, you got to do Capsule. And I said, yes, I know I have. So Jenny, bless her, came over for the day. We set a lot of stuff up, and I fully intended then to do the next stuff. And then all hell broke loose. And I decided I was going to get someone to do the stuff for me, which we'd organised. And then, of course, this hit. And so I know full well it's sitting there and we're paying for it. We need to do it, especially now given what we're doing. So alongside everything else we've got to do, it's a bit like you, Sam, really, I think, where I've said, come on, once and for all, get this done and get it moving. Because I know the benefits of it. I understand that. It's just we haven't got around to it. It's that simple. So yeah, all help gratefully received. That's it.
Alice.
So I'm Alice Fox from PBS, or Printed Banners and Signs Limited, and we're a commercial printer and signage manufacturer based in Malvern. And like you guys said, Jenny's been over to me and trained us up and got us all set up on Capsule. I can't remember how long ago that was now. Was it about a year ago, maybe?
It's about a year ago now, yeah. If not more.
So very similar to you guys. The one thing we are doing, so we employed Lady Kate, who is currently furloughed, but she has been, every time I've been to a networking meeting, she's been religiously inputting everybody's data into Capsule. So I'm happy that we are getting all the new potential leads inputted into there. But I need to just understand a bit more about how it links to Xero MailChimp. Because obviously in Xero, all of our contacts are accounts at, so we don't want to be marketing to them. So I'm just getting a bit confused as to how those links are working. And I've just been concentrating on social media with our marketing more than MailChimp recently. In fact, I've even switched off the paid for MailChimp recently because I just thought this is a waste of money. I'm not using it, but I really feel like email, I need to keep it going to keep a presence during this time. And I love data, as you know, and I feel like I could be spending every evening at the moment just cleaning up our MailChimp database, but I'm not sure whether I'm supposed to start with Capsule or start with MailChimp. I just need to know the kind of data flow of how they all link is my main thing, really. And I've also been using it a little bit for alerts. So if I met somebody at a networking group, Kate's added their data in, and then I want to remind myself to give them a call in a month's time. I've been using it for that, which is quite good. I'm probably not ever going to use it to manage turning it into a job because it's such a fast-paced industry, but I really want to use it for email marketing and just as our main CRM system for that. So that's it from me. And Peter, I just want to say, I didn't know you were Peter. I've got a book of yours, which, do you know a guy called Henrik? Yeah. So I went to one of his networking groups and I won this game and I won your book, And Death Came Third. It's really good. It's
Oh, bless
really,
you. Thank you.
Good. So,
Well,
yeah,
that became a best-selling book in 12 hours in April 2006, believe it or not. That's Jen. That's 14 years ago. Oh my God!
Crazy.
Jesus. Yeah, that was it. That was in the days when it was really hard to do something like that.
Yeah.
Bless you. Henrik helps host our meetings at Hogarth at Solihull. I've known Henrik for years. I've spoken for him when he was at the Chamber.
He's such a lovely guy. He's
been
messaging me and I keep saying, are you not going to do some virtual network, some Zoom?
He doesn't want to.
He doesn't want to. I said, you'd be great at that. So.
It's not, I know. I've chatted with him. He doesn't.
No.
He's dyed in the wool events, and the trouble with the event industry is it's on its backside. That's polite, isn't it? Yes.
Yeah.
Our family business, runs 150 events a year. Currently, it's not easy. Henrik's a lovely bloke. Enjoy the book.
I will. Yeah, I am. Thank you.
Bless you.
Okay.
So what would make some good use of your time this morning then? Let's talk specifics. What would you like to know? What would be a good use of you being on this call that I can help with?
Goodness.
Go on. You go first.
No, I was going to say, oh my goodness. We've now got MailChimp. So I've had a crash course in quite a lot of technology in the last 2 weeks. Learned how to do WordPress on our website. Who knew? Vimeo. I've got my own YouTube channel. MailChimp. So it's really just. So I've done all this quite separately, and I've been talking to Chris Shanks as well, and he's working on some things to try and link all this together now, because it takes me time. Obviously the videos that we're doing, that can take me an hour in the morning to write it, actually get a recording that can actually go out without me swearing because I've got it wrong and gone off on what I should be saying, and then to have to put it all together in MailChimp, and it's just really, for me, it's just bringing all these things together and just trying to make things easier.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Alice?
Yeah, like I said, really, it's so I think at the moment in Capsule, I've got, I can't remember, but I think you helped me import everything from MailChimp that was already in MailChimp and everything from Xero. So it's just, there's a lot of, I just want to clean it all up and work out going forward. Every time I add somebody into Xero, are they automatically going into Capsule? Because I don't necessarily want that if it's the wrong address.
Yeah.
And I just kind of want to see the data flow of how to do this going forward.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah,
all right, cool. That's good.
Yeah, and how, when I go to do a mail, I know this isn't a MailChimp course, but when I go to do a MailChimp email, am I sure that all of the latest Capsule data is in there?
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, perfect. And Peter?
Well, I think for me, I was just looking at it as well. You know, the challenge I had, which was we imported all the data.
Yeah.
I want to understand how to, I guess, to explain briefly, we imported all the data, but it didn't put it in all the fields it should have done. And that's the way the spreadsheet was done. So I'm scared of taking everything out to put everything back in again. So if I could cure that and at least know what I have to do, then I'll go away and do that. And that would be a big hit for me, because then I'll start doing everything else.
Good. Okay. All right. So let's start. Let's see if we can use this. Let's see.
Just grab me a quick water, but carry on.
Yeah. I'm just going to see if I can work this correctly with my mouse.
Oh,
Given that I'm left-handed and I'm using my mouse with my right hand, this could end up looking quite interesting. But yeah, so I think probably one of the first things then that I'm hearing is, let's look at where everything connects. Let's look at how everything integrates and what needs to happen. So in an ideal world, you would have your CRM system in here. So we'd have your CRM as the central hub. And then from there, we would want to have, oh, look, that's a bit better, isn't it? That's a bit easier.
Bit flash.
That's a bit easier to draw. We'd have your Xero system, and we would have your MailChimp out here. And these all speak to each other. So we want that to speak to that, and we want that to speak to that. Yeah. So for me, having everything in your CRM system as your central store makes sense. In fact, that one actually is a different arrow. Let me do that actually, double arrow, so that one goes both ways actually, and so does that one, can go both ways. And then we've got one other element as well, which is your website. And your website can integrate there and can integrate there.
Yeah.
So in an ideal world, we've got all of this linked up together with hopefully the central thing happening in the CRM. So if we have a web form or a contact us form, sitting on your website, when that data is completed in here, what it can do is go away. Don't want that one. Is go into your website, which then creates the record in CRM, which then speaks into your MailChimp, Or if you've got a landing form in your MailChimp, you use the sign up form. Oh dear, what's going on? Don't want another text thing. Go away. Go away. I want the pointer. You then have the MailChimp as a sign up form, which is then embedded on your website, which is then pushing into your CRM and your MailChimp into the CRM. So does that make sense?
Yep.
Yeah.
On my quick drawing. But ultimately what you want is that most of your data is then held in your CRM, your customer relationship management, so that you're doing stuff with it. Because within here, this is obviously where we can have your tags, your segmentation. So within here, we've got everything tagged down. And your segmentation all going into your CRM system, of which you can then segment things, which will then go into MailChimp.
Yeah,
so that's kind of where your big process flow happens. And ideally, in an ideal world, obviously, things go into your CRM and then you can control what you're pushing out to Xero. You can control what you're pushing out to MailChimp. The only element that you might not be able to control is the web form and the contact us, where people are inbound, and therefore you want to make sure they're on your MailChimp, but they're coming into your CRM system as a record and coming in there as a contact, of which if somebody then contacted you, you've then got a record. And what the wonderful thing about the MailChimp to the CRM record does is that actually it creates the record and then also sets a task to say new contact added, double check who this person is. So if you ever do get a sign up, you get a task that then says, actually, this person has actually registered on your MailChimp, and we've created a record for them. You might just want to double check the records are correct and obviously then do something with them. So obviously they're engaging with you at some point that you want to be able to communicate with them, set a task to give them a call, send them a quick welcome email or do something, because they're pulling into that. So let me just save that whiteboard. So how does that all work practically? So let me share my screen. And I'll
say as well, so we've got an annoying quotes software that the guys love that doesn't link manually. And so I would presumably have that as well as an extra bit of data that I need to manually put. Yeah. I've added that little circle to my drawing.
So again,
or you could use one that linked to Xero.
Oh, well, Sam, don't get me started. I'm trying to convince them all. And also then Carl could be quoting from home right now, but he has to go. It's not exactly cloud-based. He has to go in and quote.
Baby steps.
Oh dear.
Have you had that conversation by any chance before, Alice?
Yes, a few times.
Oh, that sounds familiar.
Oh, dear.
They don't like change.
So looking practically then as to how that actually does work and make it easy for you. So in the account settings, can everybody see my capsule screen now?
Yes.
Yeah. So in your account settings section, they have tidied this up, which looks beautiful at the moment. And we go into our integrations. And obviously you should see your MailChimp setup active in there and your Xero account active if we've done it correctly. And I think we set all of that up for you guys correctly when we did it. If not, let me know that you don't have any of those active buttons and we can have a look. But within MailChimp, within the audience, within the settings, at the top, there's where we get all the APIs and the connectivity and pulling them in together. Now, I think a lot of you are on the new account. MailChimp have been a bit naughty recently, in my opinion. So if you're on a legacy account, so I'm actually on a legacy account, which means that I signed up so many years ago, they can't cut me down on the number of lists that I've got. So I'm allowed to have multiple audiences list under my free account or under an account. Nowadays, they set up just one account for you. So you're allowed one list unless you upgrade. So everything is going into a central list. But what you can do is within that list, you can segment them down into groups. So when we are pulling things over now from CapsuleCRM, you must make sure that your MailChimp list has a series of groups set up that matches the tags that you've got in your CapsuleCRM system. Because when you link the two together, it will be looking for the tags and putting people into the groups in which you can then segment. So what does that look like? So under groups in here, we then have a group called CapsuleCRM tags. And if I just then view that group, within my CapsuleCRM, I can have my active clients, my prospective, and you can have up to 50 different ones in here. So I can then have a look and say, okay, what is one of my other tags that I want to pull over? And if that was, say, for example, accountants as a tag, I could pull that up. I could add another group, which was my Sterling networks. So you build up, you create your group called CapsuleCRM, and then you create all your different groupings of each of the different tags that you've got within Capsule.
Sorry, can I just ask you then? So my MailChimp, I've created tags in there for people. So I shouldn't have done that. I needed to put them into groups instead. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Where did you go for groups?
So manage contacts and then into groups.
And then you see how you've got, like, say, Sterling Networks. So presumably somebody could be in Sterling Networks and also active.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
More than one, can't
they?
Yeah.
So what it's doing is it's matching the key tags that I want to pull across. So all of these ones here, and they must look exactly like
the same. Yeah, okay.
They are there. So you've got to make sure that if you want to pull them over and you're wanting to segment, you can actually then make sure that the tag represents the tag that you've got on your CRM system. So you don't have to create every tag within your MailChimp, but obviously only the ones that you want to be able to segment on when you're sending a campaign out to those people.
Okay.
And then obviously if you're then sending a campaign and you're creating a campaign within who you're sending this to, I can then choose my audience and I can then say I want to send it to my group or my segment, and my groups or my capsule tags is all of my active clients.
Oh, can you do that?
And
again?
then I can say again, sorry?
So can you do that again? But you have filmed this, haven't you? So we can watch back.
So when you segment or group down, you're looking for your particular audience, so you can send to all the subscribers in that audience, or you can pull it down to either tags or groups. And then within here, you've then got your groups of where you want your CapsuleCRM tags, and you can then choose multiples as well by holding down your control.
You know where you've got audience business cards, is that just our one list there?
Yes, so that's your master list. So that's so that will be your in yours that might be all contacts, however you've named that audience
or something. Okay.
So I had to do a survey for my sister. She's a physiotherapist down at Cheltenham General Hospital, and she was doing some research, so I had to create a list called the Frozen Shoulder Survey. So I've got a list of that, but obviously you might only have one list in here, which is all contacts, and then you can segment them down.
Jen, so which way around is best to do this? Is it best to set the tags up first in MailChimp, or is it best to set it up in Capsule first? Which way around is the way to do it?
I would set my tags up in Capsule.
Yeah.
So I want to know all of my Capsule tags. I want to know how I'm segmenting my database in my CapsuleCRM system.
Yeah.
And then from that, I want to replicate within my MailChimp what are my key groupings that I will want to do a mailing to.
Right, I understand.
So you may have tags within your Capsule CRM that you're using, but actually you don't want to be doing that tag to, you don't want to segment them in MailChimp to that particular group.
Okay. So Capsule first, then MailChimp.
Capsule, then replicate what you've got in MailChimp. And then remember, if you add a new tag into Capsule, and you then say, right, I want to make sure that I have got that grouping, you need to replicate the group tag into MailChimp.
Okay.
So in the future, if you then say, okay, actually, I want to have, I want to create a new tag called CRM training, and I want to put everybody again CRM, and then I want to send a MailChimp. If I don't have the group in my MailChimp, it won't sync them over and pull them in as records into that one.
Thank you.
And then it will suck them in. So yeah, so although you've only got the one list, you can then group these people down and segment them and create your different CRM tags into your groups. And then within Capsule CRM, if I was to then say, I want to, let's just look at Jason. I don't know what Jason's on. So I've got Jason in here. And when I do my drop down arrow and I manage my mailing lists, and I can see whether he's on any of my lists. So he was on my business card list. He's not on that. So you can see I've got active client and Sterling network. So it's now going to pick those two tags up and sync with managing my mailing list in my business cards by adding him in. It's then going to pull them over, add him to that list, and suck through those tags and put him into those groupings within my tags, within my MailChimp. So I can now segment down on him on my MailChimp if I wanted to.
And the reason he wasn't in there in the first place is because when you created it, you didn't add him into that tag.
Yeah. I just hadn't, again, it's about the process of saying, okay, have I managed my mailing list? Have I added him into my mailing list?
So just to be clear, so having the same tags in Capsule and the same groups in MailChimp doesn't automatically make it work. We've then got to go through each.
You've got to go through your management list, but you can do it through your people and organization. So if I was to say I now want to do all my accountants in Capsule, and I want to update my MailChimp list.
Okay.
So I can say, okay, I want to update my MailChimp list to the business cards.
Right.
And I want to update that list, and then it will tell me, I'm going to change this actually, this company to organization in my MailChimp, because that's really annoying. So I can update that list, and it's now going to pull over because I've now created a new grouping of accountant in my groups in MailChimp. It's now going to sync that and say, okay, so if Ian was already on my mailing list, it's now going to pop him and update the group and put that group within my MailChimp.
Okay.
So again, you can do it from your people and organizations here as well. By using the update your MailChimp list.
We've all gone quiet.
I'm busy writing notes. I'm just thinking, oh my God, my hands. I thought I'd been so clever when I'd done MailChimp and put the tags on. And obviously now I've got to set them all up as groups, not tags. And I now also need to go back to Capsule and make sure they all agree. Okay.
Yeah, and we can pull them all over. I mean, try it, Sam. It may pull through as tags, but it just depends how many tags you've then set up as to how it then works. The easiest way I found it was just to use the groups, because that's that. But you check it out and try it with the tags. I think it might actually still work as tags. It just means that within your MailChimp, you've then got lots and lots and lots of tags.
And what I'm hearing you saying is get Capsule in groups absolutely in the way it needs to be.
Yeah.
Then go at MailChimp.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And so you've got it right. And
you've got it right because you know what you're exporting and what you're syncing over.
Yeah.
In each way.
All right.
Okay.
And then if you ever decide to create a new tag in Capsule, you just have to go through all your contacts and decide
add
if
them
you're
up.
going to add them
Yeah.
in.
Yeah. So make sure you've got the group updated or a tag created within MailChimp, and then just go to your audience, find that new tag, segment them all out, and then update your MailChimp list.
Yeah. What was that manage button again? Manage what was it? Or can you not do that in here?
Oh, yeah. So manage contacts, groups.
No, in Capsule, the manage. Wait, the thing you did.
That was on an individual one, wasn't it? I think.
Oh, so you can't do that on a
Yeah. So you can do it either individually. So if you added a new tag, and then you do the little drop down to manage mailing lists.
Yeah.
And then you'll be able to see what lists he's on, whether or not you need to add him to a list.
But if you do it globally.
But if you have multiple people that you've added a tag to, and you want to do it in a group as opposed to doing it individually, you come into people and organizations, filter down on the tag that you've just created, and then from your email button here, update your MailChimp list, and it will do it as a grouping as opposed to doing it individually.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Cool.
Cool. And then within Xero, obviously what you want to do is the easiest way that I think, so there's two ways of doing this. So one, again, it's around creating the record within Capsule and making sure that within the company you've got multiple people. So obviously, if Jason had an accounts person at Business Doctor, I could add a second person in who was the accounts contact within here. And it would pull, but within Xero, what it's looking for is the company information. It pulls the company details through as opposed to the individual. So it's looking at this top level of information as to what it actually connects with.
So in other words, you put this in once into here, it pulls that through, and then Xero, it's populated.
Yeah. But obviously, if you already have records within Xero, the best way of doing it is to export them, tidy up the data within your CSV file, and then import them into your Capsule, so that and only then decide what you're importing. So you could take out people that you don't want to import into your CapsuleCRM. And then when you're doing the integration, it will say, do you want to pull people over? And you say, no, I don't want to pull any extra people over. I've got my CRM system. And then all Capsule will do is look within Xero and see if it's got someone there already and just pull the data through as to what's going on. So it's easier to make sure that you've got your Capsule data imported with your Xero system before you do the integration. Because if you do the integration, it's going to suck everything in and maybe create records that you didn't want to do. Whereas if you've already got the records created in Capsule, and then you say, okay, I'm now integrating with Xero, it won't suck anything in. It'll just look and make sure that actually you've got people in there and pull the information from Xero into that particular record.
So, sorry, Jen. So if you, I'm working backwards in my head. In this case, go onto Xero first, CSV file, clean it up so you know you're happy with it.
Yeah.
Put it into Capsule.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, get Capsule clean, get it all sorted. When you're happy with it, then push the integration button back to Xero.
Yeah.
And likewise, push it back to MailChimp, and then go into both of those and make sure it all works properly.
Absolutely. Easy peasy, isn't it?
Anything else to doddle?
And then obviously if you've got anybody new that comes onto the system who isn't in Xero yet, so you can see here, so I've got this one here, which the zeros does not exist within your Xero account. I can make sure I've got all the details that I want, and then I can export to Xero, and it will say, okay, this is what it's exporting out. It's creating all of this. Do you want to export to Xero? Yes, I do.
But you only, sorry, you only export to Xero because they're going to become a client, basically.
Absolutely, yeah.
So how does that work if you are getting people to pay on a PayPal button on a website? How do you get the data then into Xero effectively, I suppose, and into the CRM system?
Well, is your PayPal then linking into your Xero system?
Not at the moment, no.
Okay. So within that, if they're creating that record within PayPal, you'll then have to manually add them into your CRM system.
So the way to do it will be to add to CRM, and then push the populate Xero.
Yeah, and then you can then reconcile anything that you've got within there.
Okay.
So the integration from Xero happens all the time.
Yes.
But the integration back to Xero is a manual process.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah. So as long as if somebody's in Xero, it will update. So as soon as I go into my Xero account and reconcile any of these invoices, it will then say, okay, that one's, so this is the total, and these are all the invoices, and this is what's been paid. And I can open that straight into my Xero account and have a look at it. But what it doesn't do is I have to tell it, if I've got a new client, I have to say that record is not replicated in my Xero. I have to push it out to Xero, and then obviously raise the invoices and push it out. And then, but if something's happening in my Xero account and it recognizes it as a record within my capsule, it will update any outstanding details.
Okay. So if we've got somebody new, Kate's added them onto Capsule, they then become a customer. She's creating the invoice, but before she creates the invoice, she should just go back into Capsule and manually export them to Xero. So that it's duplicated the same.
Yeah. But what within here, within your Xero application, you can actually add the invoice here.
Okay, drop something on it.
Or you can unlink them from Xero as well. So within here, if I wanted to do another invoice to Jason, it would open up.
Sorry, won't be a second.
Yeah. And automatically start creating all of my
Did you have to add him to Xero first?
Yeah, I've had to add him to Xero first so that I can get these drop-down buttons.
Okay.
But once it's done, it's great.
Yeah.
But you do have to have a process for keeping it tidy, don't you? That's the bit.
Absolutely. Yeah. And again, it's around, okay, what happens when you've got a new client, which is, again, where your tracks come in handy. So, as a new onboarding client, what do we need to do? So if I was to do a new onboarding client as one of my tracks, one of my tracks is create details in Xero and link to CRM. So one of my tasks then come up to me saying, have you actually exported this person to Xero? Have you updated your mailing lists in MailChimp as part of my track?
Yeah.
So I think I've got somebody here with a Dropbox with a case open. Yeah. So there we go. So within here, so as one of my tasks, I've done the Dropbox folder, I've created that, I've done the document with the strategy, set the time up. So now within this one, I've got create details, and so one of my now tasks is going to pop up saying, okay, have you double checked that the link to Xero is now working, and have you updated all of your MailChimp lists with this contact record? And I can then go into my client and say, oh, yeah, no, I've done that. We've got that. They're linked into Xero. Yes, they are. Have I updated my MailChimp? I'll do it from Ian because he's got the email address. Manage my mailing lists. I need to add him to that one. And I need to...
Oh, that's really good. No, I get it now, Jen. I didn't before, you know. I didn't really get it. I thought I did, but I get it now. But this is basically going to nag the heck out of me, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Which
So I've done
knows that's
everything
what
I need to do now. Yeah.
Okay.
So I've done that. I've now updated I've checked my Xero link. I've updated my link to CRM. Excellent. I've done that task. So now I can close that one down. And I can see that actually that whole thing is now closed. I can close that case because it's all done.
Good.
Yeah. So as you say, Alice, it's about having that process flow. And it's around having, okay, what are my steps in my process? And my final process step is update my tags. So move them from being active from prospect to active. Update what they all are, and then make sure that everything is linked into Xero. It's in my CRM system, but actually I've got the process there. So a tag keeps reminding me, don't forget to do that, don't forget to do that, as opposed to just having it all done. But yeah, the track is where you can then start to lay down your process to keep reminding you, don't forget to do the Xero integration. Have you updated your tags? Have you linked it back into MailChimp?
Yeah. So I think while we're all starting out, do you think the least tags the better for now? Just, you know what I mean? Because I keep coming up with all these amazing segmentations I can do, but
yeah.
Actually, the more you do, the more you've got to remember to move them.
Yeah. And just think about what you're trying to achieve. Yeah. You know, sometimes it's around, you know, Peter and I will agree, it's the KISS principle. You know, how can we keep it simple? Yeah. Because you could go absolutely mad on segmentation, but you end up finding, actually, I'm only segmenting down to 5 people, you know. Yeah, and it's a case of saying, okay, what am I, and again, it's the outcome. What am I trying to achieve with this data? What is the best use of this data for me? What would be the best way that I can communicate with my clients? You know, and you know, I remember poor Sam, we had a massive conversation when I first went over to do the training where, you know, we talked about why would I want to do this? Why would I want to integrate my systems? And at the time, you were doing, it was the construction industry, wasn't it? The construction industry had changed one of their policies to do with what you know, and it was a case of saying, okay, actually, if we could have had the data in Capsule, we would have been able to pull all of that construction data into one tag, export them into MailChimp, and get a MailChimp straight out to them within 2 processes, as opposed to having to export and then manually go through the data, delete people, get some people in. So yeah, so again, it's what are you wanting to do? What is the outcome? And again, for me, that's around keeping it really simple. It's around active and prospect. So I've got my active people, my prospect people that I can be doing mailings to, and my key services. So for me, it's who's interested in business development strategies and consultancy, who's interested in CRM strategies, who's interested in coaching and training on referral marketing, because those are my 3 key messages that I want to be pushing out. You know, and again, it's the opposite. So who am I doing CRM training to, but I'm not doing referral marketing to? So give me everybody that's not tagged as referral marketing, and let's do a message to them, because actually, do you know that I do this? And, you know, do you want to come and do this? So yeah, so it's what is the outcome that we're trying to achieve in terms of how are we getting these people to get better communication strategies going to them.
And then I think, like, for me and Sam, possibly, well, for me, I think would be the different industries. So we might talk to schools very differently to product manufacturers.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Regardless of what they actually order from us, just the messaging.
So it's either the product or the target market, but it's around, you know, don't go into I've got schools, and then I want primary schools, secondary schools, private schools. You know, it's keep it broad to begin with. They're just schools. It's the education industry.
Yeah. Okay, that's really good. Yeah, I like.
Okay.
We've all got our thinking faces.
Yeah, I
on,
can
have you
see
noticed?
I need another. I might go and get another laptop and just see what I have actually got set up. Although I could do that in the next session.
Yeah. You see, I'm already. I've got.
You got them both open. There. That's clever.
And I'm looking at it, and I'm just because I linked it to Xero. Was the first thing I did. I took Capsule and went, Xero. I'll just link them.
Awesome. It would do.
And so of course it just imported everything. So I've got the post office on here as a supplier, and you know, massive companies that I happen to have bought. Tesco's are on here because I shop there. So it's put them all in. So I'm like, so I do need to clean it up. I think this is the first job I can see that I need to do is to really clean this up.
Absolutely.
And as I've got lots of tags, but
a CRM system is only as good as the data that we're starting with.
Yeah.
You know, we could put a whole load of rubbish in there and we end up with a whole load of rubbish as an output.
Yeah.
If we do it right from the beginning, we get the right processes, and then we get the right data integration, and we understand what we're trying to achieve as the outcome, then we can start to then say, right, now I need to match the data. But for me, it's around using all the data, pulling it in from wherever you've got it, whether it's LinkedIn, MailChimp, your spreadsheets, your wherever it is, create that CSV file, get it into Capsule as tidy as you can, because when you then integrate and push out, your data is nice and clean to begin with, and then it's mapping what you've already got, not trying to suck in or push out.
Jen, you just said LinkedIn.
Well, yeah, you used to, well, you can't now, they've locked it down, but you used to be able to export all your contacts from LinkedIn and create your contact data.
I was saying, can you do that now?
You can still do it, but what LinkedIn have done, and after GDPR, is that me as a profile, I have to set my profile up now. As a default, it now won't share my email address. I have to go in and change my profile to say, if anybody's exporting, I'm happy for my email address. So the last time I did my export with my 1,500 contacts on LinkedIn, I think I only had about 20 email addresses exported, because they're now not allowing you to,
All right, okay.
You as the profile manager have to now go in and turn on the permission that you will allow your email address to be known to people.
So you got to do it the long-winded way, in other words.
Yeah. But business cards, again, you know, we found a way within CamCard to be able to scan in your business cards and then export that as a CSV to import to people. Or if you're using the app, Jason French has now found a rather nizzy way that when you import, if you've got your contacts synced in from CamCard into your contacts, you can import straight into Capsule from your contact records now on your phone.
Oh, I have CamCard, so I can, right, okay, hang on. So I can link CamCard.
We're all doing this now.
To Capsule.
If you link it to your contacts, so you link CamCard to contacts, it then creates the contact records.
Oh, so all these are people who become contacts in my phone.
Yeah. And then when you no
offense to anybody.
I know exactly. And then when you add on your button on your Capsule CRM mobile app, if you do the little add button and you can do import a contact, it will then open up all of your contacts on your phone and you can import from that way.
No, you see, my mobile's my personal mobile, so I only have.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah. The best way to use CamCard, and the best way I've found it, is actually I export them out of CamCard as a CSV.
Which is what we did, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. And then you can tag them within CamCard and add groups as well in CamCard. So you can put a tag in CamCard when you're adding them in. Sorry, Sam.
That's okay. Tags, groups.
Oh my God, Sam. I'm considering having a separate work phone to a personal one.
No, I used to, when I was at the bank, I used to have two phones. And it was a pain in the backside, but.
Yeah, true. because there's a lot of blurred lines with networking. Who's a friend? Who's a colleague?
Well, WhatsApp. Everybody on WhatsApp's now got my mobile number, haven't they? Which nobody had before because it was my phone.
Yeah, and it confuses the hell out of you because people ring you on WhatsApp and you're thinking, who is it?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know?
Yeah, and they ring you on a Sunday. And I'm like,
yes, yeah, exactly.
Not that that matters at the minute, does it? Because
Oh,
all
no,
days are the
yes.
same.
I've
That's
got
what
to
day
know
it
what day it is.
Yeah.
I've done groups. I have created groups already.
Well done. Yeah. So when you export it as a CSV, they will export them out. You can tidy the data and then import them as CSVs into Capsule. And then obviously it imports the tags or your groups when you've imported them into Capsule and created those. And I find that the easiest way, that just, once a week, I'll export people from my cam cards and just have that as a process, which makes it just dead easier, really, as opposed to having to, if you've been to a networking event and you've collected 20 business cards, rather than manually type them all in, take a picture, export it out, throw it into your CRM system.
I think the irony of this thing today, Jen, is that what I've decided to do is actually not start much on Capsule. I'm going to start by making sure Xero's right.
Yeah.
Then I'm going to double check Camcard. I'm going to double check MailChimp and say, I know these are right.
Yeah.
And then start on Capsule.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Thanks.
So
Thanks for that.
Yeah. But, good data in gets good data out. And if you can start then and get a clean set of data, and you now have a new process as to what's going to happen. So when you're doing your networking, when you're doing your conversations, and you then say, right, I want to add this person into my Capsule, you've now got the right process with the right tags. And then the process is export to Xero if needed, add to my MailChimp as necessary, and then it's pulling everything together. And then once you've got that process moving, and that's what I talk about, the hamster wheel. Once we get that process moving now with your hamster wheel, and you know how you're processing your data, when you're ready to do something with those people, you've got them all set up and ready to do something with.
And I think with my quote works, I'm just not even going to put them in until I've convinced everyone to use another quoting software, because it's just going to get messy, because it's a nightmare. The same company might be input in 6 different ways, with just slightly different spellings, and that would just take me forever to clean that up before I put it in. So I think I will just keep persuading them. Can I just ask a quick question about if somebody unsubscribes then?
Yep.
When you sent an email out, how does that filter back through? Do you see that everywhere, or?
Absolutely. So this is one of the beauties about Capsule and MailChimp CRM systems. Within here, underneath the top here, under your people in organization and your save lists, you have as soon as you integrate MailChimp with your CRM system, you get 2 new extra little lists saved here. You get a MailChimp invalid list and a MailChimp unsubscribed list. Okay. So if I was to click that, this is now telling me that these 9 records, I have no email address, or it is now, and it's MailChimp has tried to do something and send an email, and it's bounced. There's an invalid record connection here. So I know this company moved to America and therefore is no longer relevant. So I can decide and say, actually, do you know what? I just need to delete this record completely from my system, because he's just no longer trading at all. So there's no point having him on my CRM system. Mm-hmm. Within here, I can then see, okay, and who's unsubscribed? Hey! Now that's what you want to see. Phew! But obviously, if you've unsubscribed, if it's unsubscribed, you can have a look and you can run this report and say, okay, give me everybody that's unsubscribed, and you can decide what you want to do with that data. Yeah. So you can decide if they've unsubscribed, I'm either going to just look at them here and say, yeah, okay, what am I going to do? Why have they unsubscribed? Is it somebody that I just don't have any connection with? I can delete them straight from my CRM system. I don't want them in there. Or, oh, actually, that's unusual. Why is that person unsubscribed from my mailing list? I might just want to give them a quick call. They might have done it by mistake, or you know, I thought they wouldn't be one that would want to unsubscribe. So I'm just going to double check on that. But the next time that you send out a mailing from MailChimp, it's always MailChimp will be the master of who's subscribed and unsubscribed.
Yeah.
So if they've unsubscribed, MailChimp, even if you add them back into the list, MailChimp will still not send them the email because they will be showing as unsubscribed in MailChimp.
I thought that because I thought if I've accidentally picked up their business card again somewhere, and we've added them back in, and then but they still wouldn't receive it. They
still wouldn't get there because it will be saying this email's unsubscribed. I'm not adding them into this record.
Okay. Cool.
But yeah, this is one of the really nice features with the integration, because you can see, okay, who have I got? Why is that? They're not getting my mailings because there's an invalid record here somewhere. I need to go and make sure the email's still relevant, or that there's an actual email address, or, oh, okay, these people have unsubscribed. I'm cleaning up my database and I'm just getting rid of them if they've unsubscribed. There's no point keeping them even in my CRM system.
Okay. Nice.
And then it also then adds a tag to those people. So if you go in here, it's automatically added a tag for this one here.
Brilliant.
Lovely. How are we feeling?
Knackered.
Yeah, my to-do list has just gone up by the number of items yet again.
But I do feel like I want to go and have a go now before I forget it all. I'll probably get to like letter C and then I'll be like, oh God.
I've got two things just to ask, which is how do I go back, because that data import didn't work properly. How do I go back? And yes, please, I want this film recorded.
I will be sending this. All right, fast forward to that part.
Yeah.
Right. So obviously, I think the best thing for you, Peter, is that we strip out everything that's in.
So how do I do that?
Literally, you go to your people in organizations, pick everybody, select everybody, and then just delete contact.
Hang on a minute, because I've got this in the wrong place here. You said go to people.
Yeah, people in organizations.
And then where are you going?
So you're going to select everybody, and then big button saying delete contacts.
Oh yeah, I got it. Okay.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so I'm scared to death to do that.
or export them.
So
you can export them as a CSV, and then it will create an export of that CSV, which we will always then have that data there.
Would it
Probably
be better,
the easier way.
Would it be better to clean that CSV file up that I've got that it sends to me, and then I could import that back in?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, that'll be better. I feel happier that way. Pushing delete scares me to death, to be honest.
So just export the list. It will export it as a CSV. You can then tidy that data up and then re-import it back in. And then it will update the record. So when you import, it will say, do you want to create brand new data, or do you want to look at the data that's already there and update with whatever new data we've got? And you want to merge the two together. So you don't want to create new contacts. You want to update what you've already got in there.
And where do I go again to bring that back in?
So import contacts here. So the same place.
Just go to the top, import.
At the top, import contacts. It will then talk you through. You want to import from a CSV file.
Yeah.
Choose your file, preview the import, verify all the fields, and then import it together. And then when you get the import, there'll be a little button down here that will say, do you want us to check and create brand new records for everybody that's in this CSV file? Do you want us to merge with anybody that's already in there and just update the data that you're bringing in? Or so there's about 2 or 3 options.
And the answer would be merge, wouldn't it?
Absolutely, merge, update everything that I've got.
Thank you.
So just on that point, then, if I export everybody to tidy this up.
Yeah.
So I've got people in Capsule where we've created the contact. If I use SB Print as an example, so SB Print is a contact in Capsule with the S and the B together.
Right, yeah.
They're also a client, and there's a separate record, because in Xero we've set them up as S space B print.
Yeah.
So I know I can merge them, but if I export it and deleted those duplicates, it's then going to delete. I actually don't need to do it. I need to merge it manually, don't I?
So the easiest way to do that would be to go to SB print in your capsule and update the spacing. So have it already. So if you've got, it depends on how many you've got then. If there's only one or two of those that you know that happens, make sure that your capsule record is with the space or without the space. And then when you re-import it, it will make sure it's got the right details and it's matching it.
So Capsule's got those two records. It's got SB print together and SB print with the space.
Oh, okay. So what you can do is...
So exporting a list isn't going to work for me, is it? I'm going to have to manually bring those records together, aren't I?
So how? No, you can do it within here.
Okay.
So within here, there is a merge button.
Yeah.
So when you click merge, it will then ask you which ones you want to duplicate together.
Okay.
So it will then duplicate it. So you've then only just got the one record within CapsuleCRM already. So yeah, so if you find that you've got any duplicates, go to the record where it is, do the little arrow, and then you've got a merge.
Okay.
And then you can merge two records together.
Does it take information that's on the one?
You decide which one becomes the master. So when you're pulling them together, you'll say, I want to keep this record as the master and merge everything into that. So change the company name, add the people,
Okay.
So you decide which one you want, whether it's S space B print or SB together. Okay. Whatever you want to do, you decide which one becomes the master under the merge.
Okay. Okie dokie.
So if you find when you're going through you've got a couple of people who are duplicates, you can merge them together, and then when you re-import them, you'll have the one record already in Capsule, and it will just pull the right records in.
Okay, brilliant, thank you.
So I know we've said it both ways, but I can't remember now which way. Do we start with Xero or do we start with Capsule? Because you said, didn't you, Peter, that actually you're going to start with Xero, even though...
Yeah, because I know Xero needs cleaning anyway. It's not for us. It's not huge, but it will change because what we're doing with the practice of bringing in a virtual membership. So we know more people are going to come in that way. So I'm not a highly logical person, as Jen knows, but I know enough to know that I need to fix that first. It's
right.
Touch wood. It's not a big one. I can then input that in. I'll do the clean data routine. That'll be brilliant. It makes sense for me we did a big cleanup on MailChimp, the GDPR. So it used to be 3,000 contacts. We brought that down. It makes sense to re-clean it again, put that in. So I know those two are clean, but also do exactly what I just talked about, which is because I know the import didn't work properly, which is because we didn't do it, but not Jen's fault, it's us. So I'm going to take it out, clean that up. So I know I've got 3 sets of clean data then.
Yeah.
And then start working on Capsule properly. Because otherwise it's going to be...
Which way to do it for me.
Yeah. But for us, I think that's up. That's the big choice and decision today. Thank you, Jen. I know what I'm doing all weekend.
Lovely.
I know. I'm just
not creosoting the fence.
Yeah.
I think I want to do the fence at the minute.
Sounds a much more pliable option, doesn't it?
That's enough, I tell you. But and suss out that I get cam card, make sure cam cards in. I get all those things right,
yeah.
and then knowing me, I'll say, Jen, help, now what? So, but I'll go that far.
Alice, the decision is where do you feel that your data is most up to date and comfortable? So wherever you think that the data is right, And it sounds to me like what you've been doing with your networking and adding things straight into Capsule. The data's all there within that. You just need to just double check your tags and pulling over to your MailChimp records.
I'd say MailChimp's probably the messiest, the oldest, and a lot of people that have just been imported from years ago that I just know would unsubscribe.
Yeah.
So I feel like scrapping MailChimp almost. And start, if I could, I don't know. Could I?
Well, you can export. I mean, the other thing to do is you can export from your MailChimp. So you can export all the records that you've got in MailChimp and then go through that and see. But again, within MailChimp, it doesn't matter what you've got in MailChimp to a certain degree, because if you send a mailing out, they'll self-select themselves by unsubscribing anyway.
Yeah, true.
Yeah,
So
and actually,
it'll self-clean, won't it?
It'll self-clean itself as you go through your mailings. But equally, don't discount the fact that actually that person, you never know who might be on that mailing list, that suddenly you just send a mailing out and they go, oh, I forgot I was on their mailing list. I'm just going to...
I guess those people, when they're getting... coming back into CRM, is that an automatic system?
Yes.
I won't be able to tag them very well because I won't know who they are at all, will I?
Yeah, and that's the thing. So again, it will be a case of saying, if somebody's unsubscribed from my MailChimp system, it will be going into Capsule and running a report and just having a task every month in your diary to say, go and check my MailChimp unsubscribed in Capsules.
But
who's
also
tagged...
the ones that haven't unsubscribed, the ones that are years old, I won't be able to categorize them give them tags in Capsule because I don't really know anything about them at all.
Yeah.
But then hopefully over time, so I might have a tag of old contacts that will be prospects, unknown prospects or something.
Absolutely, yeah.
Actually, Alice, that's what we did.
Did you?
Yeah, we did that with because the GDPR thing, and I had the girls screaming at me saying, "You've got to get this right." And I was, yeah. But I did eventually behave. So what we actually did was we put it into different groups, and so I had a group in there which I knew people would probably want to know what we did. Then I had somewhere I thought, I don't know who these people are at all. I can't remember them, especially from a lot of speaking. There are a lot of people I just don't know. And we came up with 3 or 4 groups, and then we put some stuff out, and very quickly they self-selected. So it got to a point where very quickly I said, well, that group there, it's patently obvious that they're old, they're bouncing. I just got rid of them. And we just brought it down. And again, the girls were saying, oh my God, the list's a lot smaller, because it was about 3,500, and we're down to about 400 now. But on the other hand, we've got decent opening rates. Yeah. Very rarely do people unsubscribe. If they do, it's fine. And now what we've got to do is get back to adding people into them again. But we know it's clean, and also, it was compliant and all that sort of baloney, but it was done. Yeah. But actually, you felt a lot better about yourself because you felt you could manage it more.
Yeah. Yeah, because you avoid sending emails when you don't really know who you're sending them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. You know that actually this is all, this is a relevant message because it's new customers that I just met, or Good. So
and then if you meet somebody and you're adding them into Capsule and they're already on your mailing list, when you come to the manage mailing list part, it's going to say this person's already on it anyway.
Yeah.
I just need to update the list, and it'll just pull the tags across that you need to update them with. Right. Into your MailChimp list. So to be honest, I wouldn't touch your MailChimp list.
Okay.
I would keep that as is. I would just update your MailChimp list with your groups.
Right, yeah.
And your tags. Yeah. And then from your Capsule, just update your mailing lists to suck people over, just to update the list that's already there.
Yeah.
And then obviously if there's anybody that's not in Capsule but is in your MailChimp list, if they then contact you via a reply and say, oh my God, Alice, thanks very much for getting in touch. I'd really like to know more about this. And you check on your CRM and they're not actually there, you can add them into your CRM list and put the appropriate tags, and then re-update the MailChimp list back in to suck them back in with the updated information that you need.
Okay.
But I would be more concerned about the Xero in my Capsule and making sure that whatever's in Xero is the correct data and before I suck it back into my capsule, and make sure my capsule's already there before I then drag or connect anything into capsule.
So we think, so start with Xero by checking that's really tidy.
Yeah.
You know, that's automatically sucking back into Xero.
Absolutely.
Capsule.
Yeah.
And then, yeah. How automatic is it? Literally the second you know, it's not a daily thing or a weekly thing. I
think it's every 4 hours. I think there's a thing that runs in the background that's running through. So it's,
the following day you could see.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
That's really, really good.
You are a superstar, aren't you? I love you.
In this, yes. In other things, no.
Oh dear.
Ask me anything else about other systems and stuff, and no. But this I do know. This I can be a superstar in. Yeah. Cool. Right. So, Peter, actions that you're taking away from today. What are you going to do?
Oh, it's really straightforward. I'm going to do Xero first. Make sure that's straight. I'm going to export the list out of Capsule. Get it so I know it will work right, put it back in and see that it is working right. So we've got a basis to work from. I will go into MailChimp and it needs a clean anyway. I'll do it. We'll check that the groups all match. And then I'm going to take a breather and say, does this all work right?
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Well done. Thank you. Alice.
So I am going to go into Xero, tidy it all up, and just like that.
It's a snap.
Ba-bum.
You'll have it done by 12 o'clock.
Then I'm going to wait a couple of days, check it all, that it all looks great in Capsule, merge any, I reckon I'll have a lot of merging to do in Capsule. And yeah, merging in Xero as well. And then I am going to get Kate, when we're all back up and running, to, when she's doing a quote, to check that they're in Capsule first and go into Xero via Capsule. All of those other leads that we're quoting, the jobs that we're not getting, that's my missed potential at the moment. Yeah. I am going to try and persuade the guys as much as I can to switch to one of these new quoting plugins for Xero, and then I'll be, hooray, sorted. Yeah, that's it.
Fabulous. And Sam?
So I'm going to export this CRM list. And I can add the tags from what I export, can't I?
Yeah,
and then,
absolutely.
So I've realised that, so we've got a lot of tags on, but there are a chunk that are missing. So if I export it, get all the tags put on, then re-import it, but then I'll also have a list of people there where I need to merge their profiles, because we've got differences with Xero and CRM. And then once I've got it all clean, then I'm going to set my groups up on MailChimp to match the tags on Capsule, and then I'll link them.
Perfect. Great. I love it. Good processes.
And by then, all this will be over and I'll be like, oh my gosh. Alice, just to say, if you're going to merge client people on Xero, make sure you just find the one that you want to keep, and then you select the one that you want to get rid of. But it will merge both records, so you won't lose anything. But you need to be in the one you want to keep, and then tell it to merge to the one you want to get rid of
first, and then I've been doing that quite a bit recently. So do I need to do that then, and disconnect Xero from Capsule while I'm making the changes, or not?
Don't think so. No.
Okay.
No, because you're not going to be pulling anything else in. It'll just then And then obviously, if you then need to disconnect, you can do it from Capsule and disconnect them from Xero from that little drop down.
Yeah. Okay. But when Sam was saying she's going to make sure her tags and her groups are matching, and then she'll connect them back.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily.
Yeah, into MailChimp.
Mine isn't linked. So the only link I have at the moment that's active is my Xero and Capsule have always been linked.
Right. Okay.
I've never linked MailChimp because I didn't really realise that I could, to be honest with you.
I'm with
you. So they weren't linked.
Okay.
So I can get all my tags and my groups working, and then I'll make my connection.
Excellent. And then we just need to, we just need to find the API keys and where to put them into MailChimp. And that's dead easy.
Oh, you see, you've used that API thing now. I'm
I
like,
know.
Whoa.
That's a two-second process to find
Can't
all
hear
of
you.
that.
I'm deaf. Sorry.
Oh. Do you know, I feel like saying, I'm an accountant.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm an accountant. It's what I do. Give me a VAT return. Give me a bit of payroll, preferably not furloughed, but just non bit of payroll, and I'm quite happy. But this is all just so new to me, and it's just completely. I mean, yesterday I'm learning about SEO and titles and descriptions and headings, and I'm just like, my head's just blowing up.
Yeah.
What you need to do is paint the fence.
Yeah, that is exactly what I need to do. I'm going to do that. Oh dear.
Oh, beautiful. Oh, thank you guys. I hope you find that useful.
That's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Thank
Jen,
you.
you're a star.
Good.
And
So
I'm-
I'm gonna...
You're one in 2 weeks' time. Would you rather we weren't on that one? Or
No,
come
please
back
do.
and
Please.
how you
Yeah,
how
we'll
you
be
got
back.
on?
Please let me know how you get on,
We'll
please.
come
And
back
then
as
if there's anything else.
Nervous Rex.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right,
Jen,
I'm gonna...
I can't remember. Was it this you're going to speak on for the Connect session? I've forgotten, or have you sent it through to me?
I've not sent it through. That's in my afternoon's to-dos.
Oh, all right.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah. We'll probably do something on process flows, yes, and how to
Bless you.
manage it all.
Alice and Sam, you're very welcome to come to some of our free Connect sessions on the
Thank you.
practice.
Thank you.
So if you're happy for Jen to do so, Jenny, if you could, via
Yeah.
your system, send me Alice and Sam's emails. I'll send you the invites. And
That'd be lovely. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, that would
Very
be nice.
welcome.
Thank
All right.
you.
Brilliant. Right, I'm going to stop the recording now.